Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to call out the main Tory hypocrisy of the week. They are pretending to be opposed to London's ULEZ plan in order to fight Boris Johnson's old seat of Uxbridge and South Riuslip. However, there is just one minor detail which seems to be kept from voters in and around Uxbridge. Not only did the Tories start ULEZ, but they are also responsible for its rapid expansion. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel. So ULEZ, the ultra-low emission zones in London, are part of an initiative to generate cleaner air in London. It's a public health measure. It is billed as an extra tax on drivers by Conservatives, although this is something of a bit of a half-truth. Anyone with an even remotely up-to-date motor vehicle is completely exempt from the charges anyway. As I understand it, petrol cars registered after 2005 almost certainly won't pay the charge. So even when I was working as a teacher, I would have had to have gone back a very long time before I owned a car that was registered before 2005. You know, you'd need a proper old banger in 2023 to fall foul of this one. With diesel, does need to be more up to date, has to be generally from about 2015 onwards, although that still means anyone with even a diesel car that's no more than 8 years old is fine. Granted, diesel cars tend to last a lot longer. It's much more common to have one that's older. But the idea of Tory voters in a posh part of town raging at this scheme, which won't even touch their spanking new Chelsea tractors, is more than a little bemusing to me. Granted, I don't live in London, but you know, I get that there will still be a decent number of people paying the charge. But given that the average age of diesel cars, specifically diesel cars on the roads of Britain, is 8 years, and an 8-year-old diesel car is fine, then I can't imagine it's a silly number of people affected. But this isn't about justifying ULEZ or the expansion. This is about the Tories' hypocrisy in pretending to oppose it. Conservatives have been out campaigning in Uxbridge and South Riuslip by pushing an anti-ULEZ agenda. And I said when the campaign kicked off, good tactic. Absolutely. ULEZ is being rolled out by Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan. He is a Labour politician. ULEZ is not really that popular in the area, so it's a good wedge issue to push, strategically speaking. The only problem is that the Tories' opposition to ULEZ is entirely fabricated. Boris Johnson has been writing in the Daily Mail again about how it's an odious tax on drivers. But Boris Johnson is the man who started the scheme. He was Mayor of London when it began. He authorised it. He kicked it off. It's been going a long time and has provably improved the air quality in London already. But it was a Tory mayoral scheme and specifically a Boris Johnson scheme. Not that I would suggest that this is all backwards and it's the Tories really behind it and Labour really opposed to it. Labour and Khan will, I'm absolutely certain, be fully in support of the plan. It's an essential part of an important public health measure, but it's still the Tories behind it. So what's this? Boris Johnson has been telling lies again? The man who was sacked for lying as a journalist, as a shadow minister, and then sort of as prime minister, that Boris Johnson? Unbelievable, I know. But yes, he's raging against this scheme in the Daily Mail, but he is the man behind it all. Ah, but some will say, hang on a minute, we approve of the general aims of ULEZ and absolutely in the centre of London, of course. What we're concerned about is the speed of the rollout to other parts of London. And indeed, Labour's candidate Danny Beales has said that he appreciates the concerns about the speed of the rollout. Unfortunately, what I've not seen Simon pointing out is that the speed of the rollout to wider regions of London is also down to the Tories. See, while Boris Johnson was Prime Minister, his Transport Secretary Grant Shapps held meetings with Sadiq Khan about Transport for London funding, necessary as a result of a catastrophic drop in revenues caused by COVID. Obviously, during lockdowns, people weren't taking public transport, no money coming in. So they needed money from central government. Obviously, this was a Conservative central government and a Labour mayoralship, so there was a bit of friction there. But Johnson's government agreed to some extra funding for Khan, but it came with a few strings attached, some conditions. And one of those conditions was, you guessed it, that Khan rolled out ULEZ out quite quickly to the rest of Greater London. In fact, the specific condition was it be rolled out to cover the whole of Greater London by 2023. Well, that's now. Frankly, I don't know why this isn't being explained to the residents of Uxbridge and South Riuslip. The Tories are not just responsible for setting up the scheme, but also responsible for the speed and scope of the rollout to the wider London area. Like I say, I'm sure Labour and Khan specifically approve of the scheme, very much something which has cross-party support, really. It's just a bit of a cheek that the party which started it and hastened its rollout, the party which actually should be claiming much of the credit for it, really, is making a campaign strategy of pretending to be opposed to it. Because it is a pretence. This is a classic Tory campaign in many ways. They are deliberately lying to their voters. They're not having a debate on points of genuine disagreement. They are maliciously and cynically telling lies to their electorate. And it will have an impact. It will mean Labour do not win the seat with the sort of swing MRP polling would suggest should be possible. But this seat has been marginal for a while. The Tories are so unpopular now that I don't think anyone seriously thinks they will retain the seat with this latest deception. Labour will get a small swing towards them, but the Conservatives will get a huge swing away from them, and the Tories will still lose the seat to Labour. But it is still annoying that they can make the main plank of their campaign a position which is provably false. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. I hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.